Walk her down the valley, pack a piece of heaven for the bottoms of her feet. Teach her how to jump and how to stretch when she reach, like the angels do, and you gon' make it through now.
Hey guys, welcome back to part 2 of my testimony. First, I just have to say thank you for the outpour of love, of encouragement, of support that I have received. It has been so amazing. My heart is so full. I went on my socials. I'm not gonna lie, I was so scared to post this video, to post it on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook, and for everyone just to see my downfalls and to be able to share some things that are so personal and so intimate to me. I was terrified, but I am so grateful and feeling so blessed that you all have received me this way. So if you watched my last video, you saw me talk about my journey here in Atlanta and how I got into modeling and social media and the things that I was willing to do and subject myself to in order to sustain this lifestyle. So today I want to get a little more detailed. I want to share some very personal things, and I am so nervous to say some of these things and share some of these things. I feel like my heart is beating out of my chest, but I've been praying over it, and I feel that God is calling me to really get vulnerable and to really share some things in case it can help somebody else. So in 2019, I got involved in a very violent, toxic, and abusive relationship. It's so many layers to that situation, but I want to start by saying one of the reasons that I stayed involved so long was because of what I thought I was getting out of it. The gifts, the car, the apartments, this false sense of reality and thinking I am living the life when really all I was doing was putting myself in a very dangerous situation. Throughout my fast, one of the things I did on day 1 was look back through old journals. I'm a writer. I love to write. My degree is in journalism. So I found a journal from 2019 while I was in this relationship. And I read this day 1 of my fast, and today I want to read it to you. So I don't know if you can see this, but it's titled Sunday, November 2019. I didn't put the date for some reason. So I wrote down, for the last 3 days, I have been through hell. My phone has been taken from me, shattered, fixed, and then taken again. My hair was pulled from the roots, and my extensions completely destroyed. I've had more than 1 bottle of water thrown in my face today. I've been hit, shoved, kicked, and slapped. I have a cut on my lip from being hit, as well as a cut on my upper lip area and by my nose. There are bruises on my legs that are swollen at this point. I also have bruises on my back and butt area. My neck is scraped. My body is so sore, and it literally feels like I've been hit by a bus. But it's not by a bus. It's by a man I cared for, and by a man I let into my life, my space, my mind, my being. It's by a man who claims he loves me, yet at every turn shows me the definition of hate. I often sit here and wonder how someone can be the way he is, how a man can feel comfortable striking a woman, even laugh and joke about it. What in his makeup makes him feel inferior by pushing a woman down to the ground? I'm not sure what to pray for at this point. It's true that I've gotten myself into this situation. It's true that I could just leave. But that also means leaving Atlanta. My opportunities here in this lifestyle. If I could pray for anything, I would pray for God to make a way, to keep me safe through this all, and to help me make the right decisions. All in all, I'm tired. When I look back and see the trauma in this book alone, I don't even know that girl. I don't even know the woman who was willing to trade out respect for a bag, who was willing to degrade herself, to not love herself, not love God, and not believe the words in the Bible, the words that God says I am, and traded that out simply for a man, a human being, and what they were able to give me. I stayed in that situation because I didn't want to share. I was scared to even tell my friends, scared to tell my family, scared to tell all these people who looked at me and just saw this girl who, you know, it looks like she has no worries. It looks like she's just out drinking, partying, traveling, and you would never know what's really going on. So I say all that to say, and I share this today not for sympathy, not to bash anyone or anything like that. I share that because you see all of these things on social media. You see these pretty pictures. You see these videos in this life of luxury that it seems like people have, but at what cost? At what cost? So my camera died as I was filming that last clip, so I decided just to take a breather, get some sleep, and continue this morning. So I believe I left off speaking on at what cost. At what cost was that relationship, and maybe some of the benefits that I was getting from the relationship. At what cost? What was it really worth? Nothing. Because I definitely want to make it clear, under no circumstance is it okay for someone to harm you, put their hands on you, call you out of your name, disrespect you, degrade you. It is never okay. Two, I want to make it clear that you always have a choice. You always have an option. I can't control somebody else's actions, but I can control my self-worth and my self-respect, and be strong enough to walk away from any situation that does not serve me and that does not serve God. So after leaving that situation in 2019, fast forward to 2020, obviously we have the pandemic. And I had just moved into a brand new apartment, and I was healing from that situation. I thought I had gathered all these tools and gathered all this knowledge, and now I knew how to get what I wanted to get out of people and just be so and be emotionally unavailable. So in 2020, not only did I start drinking heavily, and when I say drinking heavily, I mean every single day soon as lockdown happened, I am drinking. I'm drinking. And at first it maybe started with like a shot or two. I was by myself. You know, my family was in a completely different state. Most of my friends were not around. So for the most part, I was really by myself in this apartment. And I just started drinking so much every day. I'm trying to get a bottle of 1942. Where's the Clase Azul? Drinking the tequila, taking shots. and thinking I'm just living my best life in a sense. I was just so happy to be free from that situation, but instead of taking that freedom and getting closer to God, I took that freedom of finally being away from that situation and just started really abusing alcohol. Once Atlanta opened back up, which, you know, Atlanta was one of the first cities to open back up, the clubs opened back up, and I got into my bottle girl era. I started working in the club, and that even more so led me to alcohol and abusing alcohol, because we sold alcohol. We had to sell bottles. Alcohol is constantly around you. Sometimes we would take shots before beginning a shift. So I learned, I've always had a high tolerance. I'm, 5'10". I'm not a super small girl. So I've always been able to drink and hold my alcohol, but that gave me a boost. We had to learn how to be able to serve drinks. The customer asked, can we take a shot? Sure. So we learned how, honestly, to be functional drinkers. We learned how to be honestly drunk, tipsy, buzzed, and still be serving alcohol to like 6 a.m. I worked at an after hour. So I worked at the club for, I'll say, at least a year, between 2 different clubs. I then got a job in Miami to work at clubs. I was dead set on moving to Miami. I ended up staying in Atlanta, however. But throughout all of that, 2020, 2021, 2022, I had such an unhealthy relationship with alcohol. So I basically went from one situation where I was being harmed to now harming myself. And considering it fun, considering it a vibe. I used to think it was so... I used to like being the fun friend, the party girl. I'm always down for a vibe. I'm setting the energy. Everybody come over to my house. Let's drink. Let's go out. I'll cover it. I used to like being the friend who had all these crazy stories, the friend that was getting the opportunity to do this, that, the other, and didn't have some of the same experiences that my loved ones had. And it was all fun and games until I had to sit down and be able to look at myself in the mirror. It was all fun and games until I'm the one home alone, having this void, thinking if the right relationship, if the right item, if the right thing came along, that it would fill me up, and it never did. It never did. So someone asked me what led to all of this. What made me have this breakthrough, this come to Jesus moment. And at the top of this year, I had a very scary incident happen. I went out and I was drinking heavily, like drinking, like I don't even know how many shots, I don't even know how many drinks, but it was definitely a mix of so much alcohol, so much that I had to end up leaving my vehicle I had to leave the vehicle at the place that I was out at, and I woke up the next morning without any memory whatsoever of the night before. The last thing that I remembered was being at the bar and actually saying like, oh, I don't think I'm gonna drink that much. And then I started drinking heavily. But that was one of the scariest moments ever for me, to have someone telling you about the night before that you just don't remember. and I freaked out. I felt taken advantage of. I felt I don't even know the words to use for it. And I knew that just being a woman, I knew that I had to start moving differently. I knew that I couldn't keep drinking like that, making poor decisions like that, and putting myself in harm's way. So that was what I will say my rock bottom moments. And from there, I decided to embark on my fast and really start pouring my heart out to God. I think if you ask any female who lives in Atlanta, it can be so easy. And especially when I was working in the club and I'm going to all these different events, I'm constantly out and about in this section. It's not hard. You can literally walk out of the grocery store, walk out of the gas station, and come across whoever, and people will offer you the world. But like I was saying, at what cost? At what cost for me? I was gaining so many worldly things, but losing my soul, getting harmed, having to go through abusive relationships, having to deal with assault and being taken advantage of. And those are all things that you have to heal from. Even in the moment, I had a really bad habit of just putting things in the back of my mind. And my friends almost used to commend me. Like, you're so strong, you're so... Things happen and you just keep going. Until I couldn't keep going. And I remember 2 weeks into my fast, I had just got back from a photo shoot. I was having a fairly good day. My fast was going seemingly well. But I got home, and that day in particular, I felt so heavy. So heavy. And I just began to cry. I turned on my shower, and my shower has like a little bench in it. I sat on that bench and just let the water like fall on me and just cried. And that was one of the first times that I feel I sat and had a real conversation with God. I sat and even questioned things. I sat and like really poured and cried my heart out, and things just started coming up, like things that have happened over the matter of these four or more years. It just all started coming up, and I started feeling the weight of everything. So I say that to say, love yourself. Love yourself. Know the love of God. Love yourself enough to know you can do it on your own, all by yourself, with the help of God. Want better? Don't look at the internet. Don't look at what your neighbor is doing or what life you think someone else is living, because you never know what's going on behind closed doors. Everything can look great. Face-tuned, photoshopped to perfection, edited, cut down to perfection. It's all about, the internet is all about perception. People don't display their lows. They don't display what may be happening in a situation that affords them this certain lifestyle. One of the last things that I want to say is just don't be easily impressed. Don't be naive. Don't look for others to fulfill you. Look for God to fulfill you. And that's what's beautiful about the journey and the season I'm in right now, is the fact that I do not have to depend on any human being. Not even myself. I can literally lean completely on God. I put all of my trust into Him, and that is peace. That is a peace that I used to pray about, peace that I used to cry out for, that I used to want so deep down in my soul. That's a peace. That's joy. That is happiness. That's a soft life. Is having that type of trust in God, who is all knowing, all understanding, and who will completely take care of all your wants and all your needs. He already knows my heart desires. He knows the depths of my heart. And that's amazing. I was just telling someone the other day that I feel like I'm at the best place spiritually, but maybe the worst place in other areas. I feel like I'm starting over career-wise. I definitely don't have it figured out in terms of a love life. You know, I'm single and starting over in that area, or really isolating myself from that. It's so many question marks about my next 6 months, my next year, my next 5 years. But what is not up for debate and up for question is God's hand in my life. And I love that for me. And I just want to encourage you all to really take the time to get to know God for yourself. I'm so grateful that He stopped me in my tracks. Right now, in this season, He didn't let me go another month, another 2 months, another year without knowing Him. And now I cannot go back. It's crazy. When I started my fast, I did not expect any of this. I even told someone, I'm like, oh my God, if I would have known that God was going to completely change my life and completely transform me from the inside out, I would have been outside a little more. I would have, I'm just joking. I would have, I don't know, but I didn't realize that when I started my fast that I would truly decide to let go of my old self and let go of a lot of things that I was doing that was not of Him, and dedicate my life fully. So before we leave, or before I end this video, I want to introduce you to this artist. His name is Sundae, Sondae, and he's an amazing gospel artist that I found through my fast. And through this, walk, I have found so many amazing artists. And I think when we think about gospel music, sometimes we're like, it's not like all the other, all the other music, R&B and hip hop. But I have found some amazing artists. They have the best beats, voices. It's awesome. And this song, I'm an R&B girl, and this gives me all of those vibes. So throughout this song, the song is called Have My Heart, and throughout the song he's asking God to show him how to love, show him how to walk, show him how to talk. And one of the first verses says, show me how to love like when you loved Peter when he denied you, Lord. Show me how to walk above these waters when my fear surrounds me, Lord. Show me how to trust that you are with me even when I feel alone. Show me how to rest on raging waters, Lord. My heart is yours. So he says to God, God, here and now, you can have my heart. God, here and now, you can have my heart. And I encourage you to say that to God. Let God have your heart. That love that you're either putting into a person, that you're putting into so many of these worldly things, put it into God. Show him your heart. Let him have your heart and your entire being, and watch your life completely change.
Show me your ways. Jesus, you are so much more than what I see. Show me your ways. I'm standing on the face of what you have for me. Give me the faith to be the holy child that I was made to be. You won't lead me astray. I'm holding on to you with everything.
So thank you guys so much for watching, again, for the prayers and the encouragement, all of the love and the support. I do not have it all figured out, but I just wanted to share some of my story, some of my testimony, because I still feel like I'm living out a testimony. I'm still in the midst of my story and finding my purpose, but I do hope that some of the things that I have shared will be a blessing to you and will overall just help you not make some of the decisions that I have made, and to really put your trust in God instead of man. So I love you guys. I will see you in my next video.
Like the angels do, and you gon' make it through now. Tell about the healer. Greater is the one within, and call him as the leader. Teach her how to hold